Could your health issues be caused by an invisible enemy? Fatigue, bloating, brain fog? What if parasites are the real culprit? I was digging into parasite cleanses when I came across this video from this doctor.
What are the main differences between ivermectin and fenbendazole? These are two anti-pathogens used to treat parasitic infections and other similar types of conditions. They are used quite often in the oncology world to treat cancer. They both have as anti-pathogenic abilities.
Interesting, right? Did you know that 50% of Americans have parasites? They're everywhere, in our food, water, and pets. They secretly invade your body, wreaking havoc on your gut, your energy levels, and even your brain. And the mainstream medical system, they don't want you thinking about this because one great cleanse can change your life. The Wellness Company has a solution for you. Ivermectin plus mebendazole. Both FDA approved to treat parasites, now combined in a parasite cleanse combo that wipes out many of these invaders. Just fill out a brief medical intake form to get your 3-month supply. Lots of parasite cleanses are all over social media, but not the gold standard level. MAHA is officially here, and the Wellness Company is making these hard-to-get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best life. Head to twc.health/beans and use code BEANS for $60 off plus free shipping. Don't wait. Cleanse your body and take back control today. U.S. residents only. Good morning, Frank.
Hey,
It's
how you doing?
Friday.
It is.
It's one of those days. It's Friday. It's a hectic-ass Friday.
It's the second day of spring, and it is 37 degrees and blustery.
I'm so little compared to you. In
Blustery.
shot.
Well, I can also.
That's better. We're a little more even. No, now I'm higher than you. What the hell? Hold on.
There you
we
have it.
go. You looked like
Okay.
you were like towering over me. I felt very little next to you.
I am. I usually do.
I'm just gonna let that be.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Is this for real?
Yeah.
You want to start over?
No, fuck that.
We already had camera adjustments and then awkward silences. We can just say clap. We can just clap right now. Welcome.
Oh, goodness. So it is actually, I was going to check the weather, but I have 16 text messages on my phone, which is never a good sign. 48 here in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 48. Going to a high of 60.
Well, that's nice.
No,
We
we're
have a couple of
usually in the 70s by now. This is absurd is what it is.
Yeah.
Did you
Well-
did you see the pollen that I showed everybody yesterday?
What pollen?
Oh my gosh. This is the time of year where the pine trees go. So let me show you. Let me show you this. It's my throat is like scratchy from this pollen. Here. I had my window open yesterday on my desk because it was beautiful outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the pollen on my desk from
Oh, man.
from having my window open. And this is an aerial shot of the beach. Hold on. By the way, my kitten is pregnant. Hold on a second.
Who the hell did that?
Frankie, her compadre.
How old is the kitten?
Venny is 9 months old now.
And they're already at like sexual maturity.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Here, this is that haze is pollen. That's pollen.
Like Interstellar.
I finally
Open dust
watched
storm.
that
Yeah, that was our first film club subject matter in February.
The soundtrack is
That's
just.
That's the first time I watched it too, after 10 years of it being out.
Me too. I just watched it for the first time recently, and it was just masterful.
Yeah, I
Masterful.
really liked it. We're doing we're doing more of that kind of stuff. But that's crazy with the we don't get the pollen. Obviously the pollen is coming from different trees up here, but we don't get that until about like around Mother's Day is when I know whether or not I'm going to have some allergy problems. And that's just if I've been doing the quercetin and everything in the lead up to that week, but usually around Mother's Day is when it's just there is a green film on everything.
You see this? This is the runoff from the rain yesterday. And truthfully, we only had 1 or 2 days of, not even 2 days of this pollen. It lasts for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it coats the cars. And it makes everything disgusting. But we also had this last night. Look at that.
Looks like a laser.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then the sunrise this morning was incredible. Look at that.
That's Myrtle Beach?
Yeah.
Man, the sun is already so red.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
We don't see those. We don't see that sun until. I feel like we don't see that sun over here until July.
Just beautiful. Beautiful.
All right.
Okay. So my cats are pregnant. Let's get into that story.
Is that one of those things where you don't know how many are in there until
Yes.
they just have to pop them out?
Yes. So here's the deal. I got Venice. We named her Venice in September, and she was born in July 5th. So they start to hit maturity at around 4 to 5 months in terms of sexual like maturity. And then I got Frankie when he was a little bit smaller than Venny. He's 6 months old now. So they're 3 months apart. And every time I've tried to get Venice spayed, she's gone into heat, either right before or come out of heat right before. And they can't do the operation when there's inflammation from that. So they've said, okay, we'll bring her back in 5 weeks. And then between then and the 5 weeks, she's in heat again. So
She might be faking. I think she knows what's coming. She's just faking.
She's not faking. So we were supposed to bring her in April, the first or second week of April, and she went into heat yesterday or the day before. And Frankie also took advantage of this. So all of a sudden, Will and I hear this noise, and I'm like, what is that? So I walk out, and there they are in all their glory, and they just look over at us. This went on over and over and over and over again for the past, 24 to 48 hours. They've just been consistently banging it away.
And you can't stop it.
Nope. And we can't separate them. We don't have the means. So she's going
to kill you. We'll both kill you.
They don't, but believe it or not, if you like say their names in the middle of it, they'll like stop for a minute and like kind of shuffle away. My dog Cody really doesn't like it. He thinks that Frankie is hurting Venice, and he gets very upset about it because Frankie, the cat, will grab the female's neck with its mouth. That's just a thing they do. So like, you know how mom lifts the cat up by the nape of the neck? The male cat will bite the female cat like that and basically just dominate her and impregnate her. And it's 8 seconds. It's not very long.
You know, there's a lot of outside cats around here, and whatever the hell that time of year it is, or a couple times a year, we hear it all the time. I'm sure everybody does, obviously. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're suburban area or urban, wherever the hell the cats are, they're doing their thing. And man, oh man, just being on the inside of a house with animals doing their thing outside, it sounds like human babies.
Yes.
It sounds like human babies. So I can't imagine having that going on inside of the house. If I were the dog, I would hate it too.
Yeah. The dog is just standing there like Cody's just What the hell?
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun at all.
No. So anyway, now I know that I'm definitely going to have kittens. And I'm okay with that. Like, we'll help her through and nurse her along. And I'm getting Frankie neutered as soon as humanly possible. I'm waiting for the vet to call me back and let me know when I can bring him in. Because usually for a cat, the first litter is small. And the funniest thing is that, like, William's like, I want one. And Viv is going to come up from Florida to take one for herself. So there's two gone. And then William comes home yesterday. He's like, oh, yeah, one of my friends, or 2 days ago, one of my friends wants a kitten. And I'm like, are you sure? They asked their parents. Yes, here's the number. Okay, yep, want one more kitten gone. Then he comes home and says another friend wants a kitten. I'm like,
how many do you think she's going to make?
Well, the first litter, probably 3. So I'm not worried about getting rid of them. But they can have up to 10. And they can have up to 10 from different fathers. Listen to how
wait, 10 over the course of a lifetime, or 10 in a batch?
In a litter.
Wow.
In one litter. So this is how it works. The female goes into estrus, or like, heat. And she doesn't just have eggs down there. Like, she drops an egg when she gets impregnated, when she gets inseminated. So, like, Frankie will inseminate her, and she'll drop an egg for that to be fertilized, right? So you could have one cat that has the babies of, like, 10 different fathers inside of it at the same time.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
See, I just wonder, and of course, all things in time, and but like, how do you even start piecing all of that together? Like the how ovulation works with a cat, where it's just I wonder at what year we came to that conclusion.
How that happens.
Yeah, because you have to test things, and I wonder what the methods were and all that stuff.
I don't know how they figured that out. It's very interesting. I guess it's the same way they figured out that there are allegedly these big coil structures under the pyramids. Somehow technology just catches up.
I know.
Did you see this thing about the pyramids?
Yeah, we were talking about it last night. I'm interested to see what comes out next, because obviously there's never going to be consensus on this, because there's so much infighting like everywhere else in archaeology. I technologically, I want to know how reliable the data that has been gleaned from these satellite images, and how they actually transform vibrations from the earth to be able to image stuff so far down in ways that they couldn't do otherwise. So I want to hear more about the technology itself, because all of the pushback I have seen has come from people making claims similar to those that have been made about the PCR tests, about what their intention was, what it can't be used for.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. Yeah. I've seen, it can only go 2 inches beneath the surface, this satellite radar, they're using. And so none of this can be real. But I don't know. I don't know if these people would put their credibility on the line in such a brilliant and wide fashion if this was just fake.
So I want to, because that's immense right there. That's huge. 2 kilometers is just, that is, I went and I asked Grok how tall the, the Burj Khalifa in Abu Dhabi, or wherever it is, that the largest man-made object on the planet Earth right now, the skyscraper out there in the Middle East.
Yeah.
That comes out to only 0.8 kilometers long. So you think about a chasm in the earth that has been observed through these sensory methods, that is more than double the depth of the largest skyscraper on earth. You're like, this is, we're starting to get into biblical territory there.
Well,
because that's not human.
It's actually BC, before Christ this happened. Like,
yeah, well, biblical. We're talking about the Watchers. We're talking about something. We're talking
alien.
about
it's alien.
Well, it's not. It's non-human. It's extraterrestrial. So whether Nephilim, you're going galactic, or you're going dimensional, whatever the hell. It's non-human.
Some people might not know what we're talking about. Do you want me to play? I have this video up. Do you want me to play some of the video that explains
go ahead.
it? Here.
Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa, and Filippo Biondi, involved in radar and remote sensing research with the University of Strathclyde, published peer-reviewed research in 2022 via MDPI entitled Synthetic Aperture Radar Doppler Tomography Reveals Details of Undiscovered High-Resolution Internal Structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Their research was conducted using SAR data, synthetic aperture radar, along with proprietary software developed by Filippo Biondi that transforms the radar signals into phononic information, which allows for the detection of millimetric vibrations. This cutting-edge technology is capable of revealing underground structures invisible to traditional methods, and revealed internal structures never seen before. Having established their expertise in using SAR to explore pyramid structures non-invasively, a recent press release on their current project was released last Saturday. This March 15th press release summarized the key findings in the team's research of the second largest pyramid of the Giza Plateau, known as the Khafre Pyramid, and what they found was astonishing. The analysis of dozens of tomographic SAR images obtained from different angles enabled the 3D reconstruction of inside the pyramid of Khafre and deep beneath the surface of the plateau. Near the base of the pyramid, 5 identical structures are seen, connected by geometric pathways. Inside each of these are 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. Below these 5 structures are 8 cylindrical structures, which appear to be vertical wells, hollow inside, and surrounded by descending spiral pathways. These 8 vertically aligned cylindrical structures, arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south, descend to a depth of 648 meters, where they all merge into 2 large cubic structures, measuring approximately 80 meters per side.
How deep is that in miles? Because I don't know meters.
2 kilometers. You're talking.
Yeah, but how deep is that in my? What's 2 kilometers?
80 meters. Hold on a second. Hold on. Because I'm not
schooled on this nonsense here. This metric stuff we should know.
So 80 meters in feet is about 262.46 feet.
Which
260. So 80 meters, they're saying 80 meters to a side. That's what he said?
Yeah.
It's about 262 and a half feet a side.
It's big.
But again, just imagine what he's talking about with depth.
Oh,
so yeah.
Yeah, like figure that out. If do you want me to get the number again?
2 kilometers. 2 kilometers, we can say in feet. 2 kilometers converted to feet, and then I'll just do miles.
Yeah.
Here you go. 2 kilometers to feet is 6,561 feet. 6,561 feet. Hold on. At what depth in the ocean was the Titanic discovered? I think it's only about 3,000 feet down.
Double.
No. Titanic was discovered at 12,000 feet, about pretty much 3,800 meters.
So half of that. So at least you're not hitting water in the Earth's core.
Well, that's the other thing that people were wondering. It's just that when you're 2 miles over to, hold on here, to 2 kilometers converted to miles, when you're talking about 1.24 miles
below
underground, what does that do to the pressure? What does that do to the temperature?
That's why they're saying it's a conductor. Like, what are you taking from that deep inside of the Earth's? Is there anything that you can find that tells you like crust and then the other layer of the Earth and then how far down each of those are?
I don't know, because you know what? There's some parts of the Earth where, you think about a volcano and all these thermal vents and things like that, where the inner Earth is essentially boiling to the top. Then there's other places where it's a lot more depth. I don't know the contours of all this stuff. And I'm more of like last night when we were talking about this, I was more so thinking about what this could mean as far as, changing our perspective on what it all, I, I don't know. I don't know. For example, I said last night, when we think about a battery, if this is a battery of some sort, if I use the example of Elf, the Christmas movie, Elf, and how in the movie, Ed Asner, Santa Claus, his sleigh is being powered by rocket technology because it used to a long time ago be powered by Christmas cheer that no longer exists anymore. And I said, what if just, because speculate, because a lot of this, as you said, you've seen the back and forth and people say, no, this is being taken out of context. I was like, no, you'll see. And I guess we will see. But I often have these thoughts about ancient technology, especially pyramids, especially even just the layout of certain ancient cities, which some people have always said they liken them to circuit boards, modern day circuit boards.
Yep.
And what if we are, as 21st century beings, way too fixated on wires and microprocessing units, and every cheap toy that we ever bought in Toys R Us containing some sort of a circuit board inside of it. Maybe that cultural state that we're in right now may be a barrier to understanding how ancient high technology may have been far more drawn from earth energy, and perhaps instead of thermal, perhaps it was a little bit more like what happens. We know that the Nile River was a lot more, with these like aquifers, and there's a lot of people who have theorized how the Nile River had been a part of the powering of a lot of these, whatever the Sphinx. Is it that the salt water from the Nile was an activation unit? It seems like there was a lot more there that was meant to charge. And
I have a couple different theories on this, which it's crazy that you said that. I didn't have this up for today, but here's a synchronicity for you. Watch this real quick, and then I have 2 points.
That was Greg Reese, by the way.
Yes. Yes, that was Greg Reese. And I saw another account, by the way, literally lift the text from his video and make it their own post. And it really pissed me off. So I don't know who Greg Reese is. This is my first entree into Greg Reese, okay?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, he's great.
But
yeah.
I defended Greg Reese from this Victoria, whoever the hell she is, person, yanking his content for her own personal gain. Really pisses me off, because I knew I started reading her posts and I'm like, I've heard this before.
People are shameless.
It's disgusting. It really is.
Shameless.
So I commented, and then she's like, the person said, well, she did credit him at the end.
Oh, well, she deserves a medal.
Yeah, it's stupid. Here, but watch this video, to your point.
How Japan generates electricity using people's footsteps. Tokyo, one of the busiest cities in the world, has installed these special black tiles on pedestrian walkways. Every time someone steps on them, the tiles capture the kinetic energy from footsteps and convert it into electricity, powering the city's future with every step. At the core of this technology is piezoelectric technology, which converts mechanical pressure into electrical power. A single step can light up 10 bulbs for 20 seconds. This technology is now spreading worldwide, with several European countries implementing it in high-traffic areas, such as football stadiums and amusement parks. Every bit of kinetic energy is maximized and transformed into green energy, making each step part of a sustainable future. Who would have thought that every step we take is quietly changing the world?
How cool is that? So
yeah.
That stands to reason. Everything is energy. So literally our footsteps or anyone's footsteps, that energy is being transferred into the surface beneath it. And where does it go after that? Right?
I know. Yeah.
So my only qualm with all of this is, what the F happened to us that we became so stupid in our consciousness between when all of this great stuff happened back in the very early, like, when did they take this away from us? When did we stop being advanced beings like the people were down in the times of Atlantis and the Maya and the Mayans and all of this? Who removed
I don't
that?
know.
And why? Like, we regressed in terms of our power and consciousness and what we understand about the world from the time of the ancient pyramids. And ethical skeptic, I don't know. Do you remember? You know who that is, right?
Yes, I follow him.
So have you seen the work that he's done on the pyramids?
You're talking about the Great Flood theories,
Yeah.
about how the pyramids are like high water marks for what happened in the in that whole basin area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of those threads.
I've read his series on that, and you really have to be brilliant to understand a quarter of what he's talking about. The party will never allow mankind to see the instrumentation below Khafre and Khufu. If you want to understand why, you can find the answer here, and he links to his blog about it. He has exothermic core mantle decoupling, and he has a whole hypothesis about the whole thing. It is heavy. It is well documented. The math checks out. I had a hard time with this. I had a real hard time with it. It's heavy research. Like, you have to really kind of be a scientist to really understand it. There are concepts in here I just could not wrap my brain.
I went and I haven't been able to make contact with ethical skeptic, but I have been able to interview a few times Ben Davidson of Suspicious Observers, who of course they're on the exact same page of the this mantle decoupling, which has to do with the lessening of the magnetic field of the Earth, and of course, which makes us more vulnerable to cosmic rays, and that is going to essentially, in the next 20 years, cause a 90-degree flip of the position of the Earth geophysically.
Yeah.
Whereas others will talk about pole shift as being something that is a lot more internal and magnetic, and it's not going to. Then, of course, you get into other theories that don't even acknowledge that the Earth is a ball. And then you have but you know, even within that, there's a lot of really interesting pushback. I then interviewed, maybe just about a month ago, Diamond and Leah of the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, who have seen a lot of the same things happening with the Earth and acknowledge the weakening of the magnetic poles and know that there is a shift coming, but it's not going to come in the most in that more devastating. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be. I mean, they define themselves as catastrophists, but as far as the geophysical element to it, there's still ways that that ties in with the ancient flood theories, but without there being an actual tilt. Yeah, I got to go back and watch it because, like you said, I'm better suited to ask questions, listen to the answers, compare notes, and hopefully over time you have those conversations enough that something sticks. But I wouldn't be able to go and reproduce any of the presentations that have been made on my show. But I just know there's a lot of different takes on that.
You know what the best thing to take from all of this is? And I'll put this link to this ridiculously well done presentation by Ethical Skeptic in the show notes today. You take from this, first of all, there is literally nothing your ass is going to do to stop it. Okay, that's number one. Nothing. So just live. Like, don't let this bother you. Don't even think about it. Like, that's the one thing that bothers me. Like, I think Suspicious Observers is amazing. I've listened to his stuff for years. But he's, like, I'm not going... I have an aversion to people who catastrophize and then beg people to change their entire lives and flee to this place where it'll be safe. And, listen, if I'm gonna... it's just...
I understand. Well, because it's a big ask, and at the same time,
what, though, like, just in case.
What
if it's your time to die? You don't go, and then you die, and you're like, oh wow, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Well, what if you don't want to get swallowed up by a gigantic tidal wave? And I don't know. Here's the thing.
It's
If
all
you can see
fear.
someone would say plenty of people categorize those types of accounts as fear mongering, but at the same time, they're not. I don't. They're not asking for people to, hey, pay me for
No, no,
my
no.
relocation services.
No, that's not what I'm
This is,
saying. I'm just,
this is, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, if you're afraid of a tidal wave, you're like literally just, it's all fear based. Like every decision you make from there is fear based. Let me get away from this. This is fear. It's just fear based decision making, which doesn't serve at all. Like if you're in imminent danger of some robber coming into your house, obviously you're going to run, right? That's different than a theory being floated out there that nobody really has the answer to. And then making fear-based choices to avoid what, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like people that got the vaccine because they were afraid of a virus.
I'm sure fear drives a lot of people. Other people would say, okay, I've done the work, I've done the calculations, and I like studying ancient life cycles of the earth and where we might be in that cycle for there being another gigantic reset again. And the other question that subdivides from there is, what form will that reset come in? Is it going to be something like you said, more catastrophic from a physical angle? Is it just going to be a magnetic angle? Whatever the hell. And then whereas some people are driven by fear, where they will accept anything in their arm, or they will do whatever, they'll run around and try to stay on this earth as long as physically possible for no other reason than they're afraid of what's on the other side of life and on earth and what comes next. Others are just like, okay, well, if my calculations are correct, then I want to be a little bit more proactive about this. And it could just be seen as proactive motion. I mean, hey, but well before everybody started being able to talk a little bit easier on the internet about whether or not the earth was going to shift, we had people like Cleo Skousen and other people who have been publishing books about strategic relocation and just from the standpoint of where society is going. If there is any kind of social breakdown here and governmental breakdown here, based on a lot of very easy to see factors, we are fracturing as a culture.
Tesla factories being firebombed.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of different social factors that are showing that we have nothing holding us together. There's economic factors that show that if something drastic is not done very quickly, there's no way that all these people can be kept afloat by our central government, which means that a lot of dependent people are going to be cut loose. And then comes the real bad behavior when people are actually hungry. Everything that's been happening right now in the streets over the last 10, 15 years have been by people who they can go into any 7-Eleven and swipe a card and get all the hot dogs they want.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, though, Frank.
I'm saying
prepping for civil unrest and going out and getting, some food, some shelf-stable food, and, making sure that your house is protected and you've got your, your guns or whatever, or buying a farm in the middle of nowhere to move to. That's different than what I'm talking about. We're talking about literally the end of times, world-ending, catastrophic floods and pole shifting, and that's not the same thing.
I think it is.
I don't.
You're making differences in scale, but it's the same exact thing.
They make a big difference. The difference is in scale.
Scale, but it's not different category. It's different in scale. You're seeing the writing on the wall for either some sort of a localized national disaster that you want to be able to stay far away from so that you can live some sort of a normal life while everybody else is dealing with the chaos in wherever the epicenter of the problem is really going to hit the most, which is the same thing as saying, I see a planetary disaster coming our way, and I want to be in a place that is strategic in altitude and in farming capabilities and community building and all that stuff. So I have an opportunity once again to survive and to continue on with the human race.
Because you're afraid of death.
I mean, we live to self-preserve. I mean, we are.
I'm not saying you go out and actively try to die. I'm just
I
saying
know.
that all of those actions you just described are because people are afraid to die. And I think that if we worked more towards stopping people from being so scared to die, like look at the guy who's trying to keep himself alive forever. What's his name? He's taking all those supplements and doing all that crazy shit and whatever. What's his name?
I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about?
If it's the guy that was like transfusing the blood of his son.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to die.
That's not the average person. That's not the average person.
I know.
Though.
I can't make my point, so let's just move on.
What are you talking? You are. Wait.
I'm not being able to make my point. I'm saying, look at him and what he's done. Right. By the way, he just broke his ankle dancing. That's a whole different story. But that's everything that he's doing. All of this craziness he's doing right now is specifically to stop himself from dying. That is his sole driving focus. And in the process of stopping himself from dying, quote, he's not living. So if these people who are saying, like, if people who are saying the planet's going to basically destroy itself, and there's only going to be these certain places where that isn't touched, where the water doesn't hit, or where it's high enough to survive, or whatever, are then basically focused on that event and taking life-altering steps to move themselves to a place where that won't happen. They're not living their life anymore. They're just trying to prevent themselves from dying. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that if you get obsessed with this stuff to the point where you're making decisions solely based off of a hypothetical date in which the poles will shift, you have abandoned your chance to actually live now. And you're doing things focused solely on what will happen at the end of it, if there is an end. And I don't want there to be an end. So I'm going to take these steps right now, praying there isn't an end. And if there is an end, then I won't be involved in it. It's a fear of death that is driving the entire thing. Now, if you're like, okay, well, you know, I'm not really afraid of death, but I kind of want to see what happens afterwards, then that's one thing. But that's not what drives 99% of the people who do things like that. Their fear of dying is what drives them. And I don't know, I guess I'm not afraid to die, so that's why this is what I'm saying. But I just feel like people who are uprooting their lives and you know, trying to avoid some catastrophe that they're not even sure will happen, that's 20 years in the future, should focus more, potentially, or consider focusing more on living today, where we actually have control over things. That's all. That's my point.
Okay. And we'll leave it at that.
Societal collapse and the destruction of the globe are a little different in my perspective, in my opinion. Like,
in scale.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, and a lot of other things. Like, you're never going to get billions of people to some mountain in Montana.
Right. Yeah. And even when you get there, then there's going to be fighting over resources too.
But those billions of people are not going to be able to, quote, avoid the catastrophic destruction of the earth. Whereas a societal collapse can be avoided if you're smart, if you're a smart planner. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But they're different.
Why?
Because, like I said, you can't accommodate everybody in the place where you need to be. Like,
oh yeah, there's going to be people that go one way or another.
Whereas if the United States as a country or society falls, there are other places you can go, and numerous amounts of them, even within the United States, that you can physically move to with your family, fleeing danger in a much easier way than trying to cram everybody into one particular location that will be spared from said potentially happening event in am I not making sense? Or
No. I don't know what the disconnect is.
Do you think we're saying the same thing but in different ways?
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't think that you see how my point is not really different from yours. We're talking about earth-changing events or life-changing events, different scales and severity, but everybody motivated by the same thing. We are a survival based species. And whereas some people do become obsessive in some way where they would go on and infuse the blood of their children to avoid death. That's not what motivates most people who just want to carry on the work of the species. And if they see something coming their way and they have the time and the calm demeanor to be able to avoid it and say, I think it's time to just, let's bring our life to another part of the world that I think we'll be a little bit more safer. That doesn't mean that you're living your whole life in a bunker. It's just that you're bringing yourself somewhere else, and then life carries on in another way. And if I don't know, and if something doesn't happen in 20 years, then what happens? You established a new family ranch that you can pass down to your children, and who knows?
And one day you'll eventually die.
And it's not about avoiding death, and becoming immortal.
No. I don't think anybody thinks other than that one dude they can become immortal.
Right.
But if there's going to be some, we're never going to agree on this. It's fine. It's fine because there's things like this going on, which are
the crazy thing is, I think we do agree on it. We're just not. There is a visual. I don't know what the hell's happening. Maybe
you know what's happening?
Comment.
It's so easy. You're a man and I'm a woman. That's literally all that's happening right now. Like straight up.
Does any women in the comment sections see what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't chalk this up to difference in sex.
I'm coming at it from a completely different perspective. And I don't know if that's because I'm a woman, but that's the only difference between us.
Okay. Well, I will just say I agree with you. Anybody that is obsessively motivated to avoid death at all costs, to the point where fear of death is motivating every step you take, just to be able to say I'm alive and I'm here for longer than the person next to you, is a horrible limiting way of living.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yes, but it's different from survival instinct of the species, and that's not what motivates somebody from saying, you know what, I think I want to get a little bit farther away from New York City. I just see something happening.
No.
Or I want to get a little farther away from the coasts because I see that there might be an issue here or whatever. It doesn't have to be about obsession and doomsaying. It's just, I don't know. That's all I say.
I agree. You would flee danger. It's kind of ingrained in us. Yes. I would run from a gunman. I would run from somebody trying to harm me. I would try to jump out of the way of an oncoming car. That's just what you do as a human being. Agreed. But this is like literally someone talking about the entire world being destroyed, save a square mile up on the top of a mountain somewhere. That's all I'm saying is it's just the scale of it is much different than there might be a tsunami one day. Why am I living at the beach? Like a tsunami hitting the East Coast wouldn't knock out all of the country and Africa and Europe and Australia and all of the other continents and everything else. It's the size and scope of the event I'm talking about. That's all.
In all the time that you've read ethical skeptics threads, did he ever, because I don't remember ever reading this, did he ever mention where he is or where he intends to go? Because he has published a lot of those global shift models that would give you an idea of what piece of Earth is going to be on the equator next and where the best place to be to avoid any kind of sloshback of the ocean or anything like that. These projections are, they're ways that people could safeguard themselves and their family for future generations. That's why people think about them and want to know where the hell this plot of land is going to be. And
he doesn't say anything about where he is. As a matter of fact, he's so anonymous, it's like sickening.
Because he probably doesn't want anybody to crowd him.
Probably wants it all for himself, this selfish bastard.
He just doesn't want to be crowded.
I've read all of the stuff that he's written, like I said, and it, like, seriously, I take it in as information. I have it's one of those things that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. and it's an unstoppable thing that you can do nothing about anyway. And I'm just going to live my life every day. And if it happens, it happens. And wherever I am at that time is where I'm supposed to be. But I'm not going to start making active steps to protect myself against a global world-ending catastrophe. That's just me. Because that's a stressful way to live. Like, let me put all of this in place so if in case one day the earth, like, you're not living in the now at all at that point. Like, you're just completely giving over all of your power to some questionable future event that may or may not happen. You see, and if it did happen, would be so utterly catastrophic that what would be the point anyway? That's my perspective. Whereas, like you're saying, if they're going to start burning down, you know, if society's going to collapse and the dollar's not going to mean anything anymore, you know, and that starts to happen, maybe you want to be someplace where you've got a farm and you can grow your own food, because that's not going to kill off the entire population fast.
It wouldn't kill the entire population.
Not quickly.
It wouldn't. Yeah, you're right. And whoever's left behind would restart the whole game again, like it has happened in the past. We're talking about disaster cycles. That's what we're talking. So again, I think that the disconnect between you and I is that I'm saying that the micro and the macro are not different. They're just different scale. And that's just my point.
And I only disagree with you that the response to both should be equal. Like, I think that's it. And then there's
that the motivation to the response.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we got through it eventually. What is that? Oh man, I wonder how many men are going to be upset about this conversation. They're probably going to be like, Tracy's a moron.
I don't think it's going to, I really don't think that this is going to be a split down the middle of sex.
I
really
do.
Don't. Okay.
I really do. Let's see what happens. Comments below.
Start a poll. Too bad you can't poll on Rumble.
You can, but not tied to a show.
Oh, okay.
But I can put it up after.
All right. That'd be good.
This would have been so much better if I had like a clear alcohol in a cup that I could drink on this.
What, like the vodka shots?
Yeah, something.
Well, we haven't had a standoff like this in a while, so.
Frank, did you see this Alec Baldwin thing?
Oh, with the wife kind of like turning him into an absolute bitch in front of the cameras.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did you see the follow-up to it?
No. What follow-up?
Okay, just hold on. I have it because I could never, I played this the other day and I'm like, I could never treat my husband this way. They're in bed, fully clothed in bed. Hold on. Here we go.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Oh, sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. And that is called, what's the word of the day?
Man-interrupting.
Man-interrupting, which could be a positive, it could be a negative, or it could be a...
Correctile dysfunction.
Yes, correctile dysfunction. I think that's one of our children trying to get into the room. But you know, the whole point is, because our children are about to come in, the whole point is that we interrupt each other all the time. I mean, Carmen wants you. Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, go get Carmen.
Okay, so now that we cleared all of that up, wait, I cleared it up. Give me a kiss just so they know that I'm not...
Oh, I'm so happy.
I want to fucking throw up. Damn, man. I don't know. So that was how, that's how they smoothed over that really, really awkward moment that they had on the red carpet, wherever that hell that public appearance was. They turned it into a joke and they kind of like spoofed themselves. That was their choice.
That is I have so many feelings about this that could you ever, I wish Lauren was around. I would ask her if she could ever treat you that way in front of anyone, let alone a gazillion people. Like, if my husband interrupted me when I was talking to a microphone, I would step aside and let him talk. That was ridiculous.
Well, Lauren's in the other room, but I can tell you she would emphatically say no. I mean, even in private, Lauren, I've known her. This September will be 20 years that I know her, and so now I've known her for half of my natural life, and there's never ever a moment where even in private one of us has told the other to be quiet, let alone say something like "shut up." Never.
I've never had that happen either. Truthfully.
Never. Never in private. None. The other has never even uttered anything like that to each other. For that little moment, and of course, it makes you say, "Holy shit!" Because of course it's Alec Baldwin. So between the shooting on the set of Rust or whatever it was called, and then just the years worth of beclowning himself politically in the most obscene ways, you struggle to find any kind of sympathy, and I think nobody really has found any sympathy for him. But just that public display makes your stomach turn. Like, wow, you know what? The guy's out of his mind. But can you imagine living like that?
It
Can you imagine
doesn't feel right.
Ugh,
It doesn't
God.
feel right. It feels wrong. Like most normal women know that is incorrect. Like that's not how it's supposed to work. Now, men aren't supposed to interrupt women anyway. It's not right. It's not kind. But there is a dominance that a man has in a relationship, like as the protector and as the provider.
Not only that, if you're going out in public and you are Alec Baldwin and Alec Baldwin's wife, whoever the hell she is, the wife is not the main attraction.
Right. But they have this new show, Frank. That's their life in this penthouse hotel or penthouse apartment that's too small for them now because they have so many kids. She has emasculated him to the point where he is useless as a man. Useless other than his wallet and whatever's left in it. They're not happy. He's not happy. There's no way he's happy. He can't be. That's impossible. Do you agree? How is he happy?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think so. Like I said, there's not going to be, I don't know anybody that saw this and said, wow, they found like any kind of like, oh man, poor guy. Yeah. I actually think that all of the old feelings for Alec Baldwin remain, but now there is just like a pinch of pity that has been sprinkled into the pot. And that's all, just a little pinch of pity. Like, oh, ooh,
Poor guy.
that was,
I did feel bad for him. Like, that's embarrassing. I felt like the shit. Poor guy. Like, I did.
This is the one. She pretended to be Latina or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she faked being Latina. And that accent actually came out in the clip.
That's what I was asking. Because wasn't she Latina in the clip? And now she's just talking like a regular old American brat over here in this one.
Here.
The Ilaria show.
No. I think we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it feels to have it be out there.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. No. I mean, I think this is a really raw show, and it's very real, and we took a lot of chances. And I think that we'll see where it leads us. We'll see what it feels like to have it out there, and then we'll see.
Yeah, no, that was hard. That's horrible.
She doesn't even say anything. She has nothing even valuable to say. That he was just complimenting her. He wasn't even interrupting her to make another point. He was saying how great she was, and she shit all over it. It's sad. I read this thread last weekend. It was this guy started commenting on something about I was gonna save it for us actually because I thought it was like a good relationship conversation to have, and I was reading his profile and he had this whole thing. He's like, I never do relationship advice, but here, women, ask your men how appreciated you make them feel. And make them rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And if they're afraid to answer, you have your answer. And I asked, well, how appreciated do I make you feel? On a scale of 1 to 10. And he's like, I would say about a 9. Sometimes you X, Y, or Z, and it makes me feel a little bit crappy. But other than that, everything you say to me is positive and happy. And you make me feel appreciated. But he was complimenting her for F's sake.
I know. It was a really minor supportive interjection. And the fact that she used it as an opportunity to break out the bad bitch whip is, oh man, I hate that. Well, that whole world is dominated by that.
Look at
and
her.
then like you said, she shoved him to the back so he could pretend to be having a conversation with somebody else, just to kind of like shake off the drubbing he just experienced. And what did she have to actually say when she regained her time in front of the microphone? Nothing. It's a really raw show. Raw. Oh yeah, that's what we need. We need another raw show out there. Produced, completely canned, nothing raw about it. They're like, oh, that sounds wonderful. When is it on? I want to watch.
This is a woman who has literally zero self-esteem whatsoever. Clearly, there's something broken inside of her. If that's going to bother her to the point where she can't. Oh my God, look at my eyes. Look, it's always the eyes. You see it?
Well, she's trying to establish a brand before he kicks the bucket. Because then once he's gone, she can't do any more stupid, unwatchable shows with him. She's trying to establish a brand for when he kicks the bucket. Because at that point, she'll be too old to latch on to somebody else. Nobody's going to want Alec Baldwin's leftovers.
God. Ugh.
You know? Yeah, it's a horrible place to be. Like I'm so happy that my whole idea of fame and success had been upended nearly 15 years ago at this point, 20 years ago at this point, because to think that this used to be, you know, this brand of status was something I owed, that kind of red carpet premieres. I wanted to be there for a lot of that stuff. I wanted to be able to interview people. I wanted to just be in that orbit because it seemed exciting. Like it was like a party everybody was at. And when you see how vapid these people's lives are,
there's nothing
even when there's nothing there. And these are people who are at the near the top of the industry. You know, Alec Baldwin can probably, pick up the phone and call any number of people and get a project started or a project considered at least. Like they have, they're going to get invites to anything that they want to go to. They can be able to go for free. No doubt about it. And you see how now more than ever, because all the mystique of Hollywood is gone and you can watch these people exist in their personal lives. If you're obsessed enough with Alec Baldwin, you can know where he is nearly every day of the week. And that wasn't like that. That wasn't the way it was in the days of Clark Gable and all that stuff. You had to wait until a little snippet of what they did was published in a paper. And this is, I don't know. This is ugh. I mean, I'm sure people would like to live in this apartment.
I'm going to show you. This isn't even an apartment. That's the sad thing. But just wait. But the other day, just to that point, AOC went live on Insta or whatever platform she prefers. She goes live on the platform and she's like, "Hey everyone, I don't even know why I'm live right now." And I'm like, I know why you're live right now. Because you need someone outside of you to validate you, and you think if you can get 19,000 people on the stream to tell you how great you are, you'll feel better. That's why she went live. And that's the same thing that's going on with all these people. What we're looking at here is this.
Okay, I finally got the name for these big bedrooms. They're called infinity bedrooms. This bedroom is bigger than 9 houses. Do you understand how many arguments I can have in this bathroom? Not saying I want to argue in this bedroom. They got a shower for the shower. They got the scary movie tub. They got the his and hers vanity sinks, the double-edged sinks. They got marble floors. This might be made out of teeth, the same teeth that the celebrities get in their mouth. You know them big stupid veneers they have in their mouth? Look at, I want y'all to look at the closet. The closet have an island in the middle. The closet look like a Polo store, a Tommy Hilfiger store, a Lacoste store. The closet has a space where you can sit down and think about what you want to wear today if you have company over. The closet look like, I'm starting to hyperventilate.
The closet looks like Going to J. Crew.
Yes.
Like I went into J. Crew or wherever the hell it was. I think last spring to pick up a what's that it's like what the hell is that material, Tracy?
What material?
It's like a white button down. It's a light kind of
linen.
I think so. Like a white linen shirt.
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Like if it's like, on a pool side or something like
linen,
that.
linen.
I think I said, you know what? I want one of those shirts.
They're great.
Just something nice to just throw on a hot day and not be whatever. And that closet looks like J. Crew. It's just like, what the hell are you talking about here?
Like here we are. There's no. First of all, like there's a sitting room inside of the closet. It's beautiful, but like, what the frick are you doing in here? What are you really doing in here? Like, can you imagine having so much stuff that you fill this closet up? What are you doing with all that stuff?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. That looks like a department. That looks like a men's department store right there. And for that to be somebody's closet is just, I know people live far beyond that too.
Yes, yes. And you know what? No, more power to them if they can. I mean, if that's, I have nothing bad to, but Jesus, it's beautiful. I don't have enough stuff to fill up a fraction of this closet. Not even a fraction of it.
You see, this is the other thing here too. And I understand that this is status symbol for a lot of people. And if you have the money, you do with it. But I also know that, this is how people park their money. Yes. Whereas you and I might stack a couple of ounces of silver as a store of value, there's a lot of people who buy properties like this just because it is a store of value.
It's valuable, all right.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously, your wardrobe is in there, and if you're going to sell the house, you're taking the wardrobe with you. But everything else, the way that you decorate it, all the amenities, things like that, I understand that that's a store of value for people, because it's like how a house that size, for it to really be truly used, you need 20 people to live there. Yes. 20 people have to call that home.
My dream for so long, ever since I can remember, has been to own a house on the beach, on the ocean, either the Gulf or the Atlantic Ocean, not the Pacific. I will not go to the West Coast. That has been my dream since I was like very, very little. And there's no way to get a house on the beach, really, that's any smaller than stuff like that. And so my dream is probably far out of reach. But this is just one last thing before we end off today.
Real quick.
Hold on. This is crazy. This is computers. What did computers cost? Laptops.
Oh, I saw this.
You did?
Me and Lauren saw this the other night. Go ahead.
Quick, what's the prices here on these three machines we've seen, Keith?
This one's list price at $49.99. This one goes for $95 or $11,000.
Yeah, $4,999, not $49.
Because that got Lauren at first. She said, "Wow, only $50." I said, "No." I said, "No."
Okay.
This was first in the world technology. They're only making a few of these a year. We're talking $5,000. Okay.
Laptop. And now you have something that's 60,000 times as powerful, if not more, and a fraction of the size in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Right, Kevin?
This is $79.99 without modem, 2 megabytes, 40 megabyte hard disk, and $84.99 with.
Well, this is equivalent to an IBM.
79. So $500, about $600 more just to have the modem.
Yes, the modem that works on a phone line with loud ass noises. When you like showing this to my kids would probably blow their minds. Here, wait.
AT. This is a 12 megahertz 286. It's got a 287 socket. It's got a 20 megabyte hard drive.
20 megabyte hard drive. We're in terabytes on phones. Terabytes. Just, it's crazy.
A 3.5 inch floppy. This is an EGA compatible screen. It's got 16 grayscales. So on the back here, you've got all your standard ports. There's external video for an EGA monitor, 2 serial ports. It's also got a space here for a modem, which would be this kind of modem here.
In addition to the desktop features like removable keyboard and all the ports and full complement of memory, we have a tremendously viewable fluorescent screen here.
I know, hey, but you know what? You have to start somewhere.
We lived through this. This is crazy.
And if you notice, I'm running Microsoft
And again,
Windows
this is because we're on this timeline. We are just, I mean, this was 1989. Okay, so we're talking 30 some odd years ago. Because we are on this timeline, this is why it's hard for us to wrap our heads around what kind of function the pyramids could have had.
Yes.
Because looking at this technology with the removable keyboard, and here is the microchip for the modem, you know, what kind of function we're talking about technology that just may be born from a completely different universe.
Probably was born from a completely different universe if we really want to get technical.
Yeah.
This is insane to me. My dad had been involved with, I had computers in my house like since I was born. My dad had early computers. He worked on early computers. He programmed on early computers. So it was just a part of my life. Like, I remember all of this. I remember when a gigabyte of storage came out, and my dad was like running around the house like, I cannot believe we have a gig available now. I'll never forget it. He's like, do you understand what that means? Like, it's crazy. Well, let me see what else. Wait.
Excel here, and the spotting of the cursor is something that does move quite well across the screen.
Now we have signals and files traveling through the air, through airdrop.
Yeah.
60 times the size of hundreds of times the size of the hard drive that's inside of that machine.
I mean, think about how people are watching us right now.
I know.
Think about how we're delivering this commentary on past technology. It's just not.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
And then real quick, wait, this is what really this got me. Like, hold on. Where is it? Because, here, wait. Come on. I know I have it here. It's probably earlier. It's a kid with a cassette tape. Here it is. And then we'll end. Listen to this.
So it should be a really great representation of like late 1900s music. So
Late 1900s.
So it should be a really great.
That's what kids are writing. They're writing to their professors. Am I allowed to use late 1900s citate? I'm like,
I guess you can. There's nothing.
1900s.
Can't object to it.
Late 1900s.
To say no would only just be because you are personally offended.
Late
you can't.
1900s. This is what we get for living through a century turn.
Well, listen, I remember having this thought. You know, I remember having this thought. I don't know, about 10 years or so ago, when I was reading a lot of. There was this one summer that I was just consuming so much classic American literature, and I was on a Hemingway and Fitzgerald kick big time. And when I was reading like This Side of Paradise or anything else with Fitzgerald, and all these characters that are having dialogue with each other and like being personable with each other inside the book and reminiscing about their time growing up, and they would reference these things in these Fitzgerald books about, you know, back in 95 and back in 93,
18,
oh, yes,
17.
No, we're talking 18.
Yeah.
1895, when these characters are growing up, because of course the Lost Generation, like, which, you know, Fitzgerald was a part of, they were writing all of their novels in the 1920s. So in the 1920s, they're looking back at the good old days in the late 90s. In the late 90s is, I mean, that's us. That's us, man. I said, wow, that's going to be more and more so us, because at that point, Gen Z and Generation Alpha, Z were still toddlers when I read that, and I started thinking to myself, wow, And it's not going to be very long before people look at me the way I looked at my great grandparents being born in the late 1800s. My great grandfather was born in 1900. My father's grandfather, 1900. But you know,
painful.
That's us. That's going to be us.
Except we don't look anything like they did when they were our age. Do you notice that? Like, they look so much older.
Yeah.
Really? We look young still. And, like, I'm going to be 45 in July. Okay. All right.
I know.
Have a nice weekend.
Well, happy birthday.
In July.
Well, I'm going to be 40 in a week and a half.
What are you doing?
I'm just taking the day off. Taking the day off and, I don't know, go out to dinner. I don't know.
Will's going to be 45 in the 28th.
On the 20th of March.
Yeah. So you're the same sign.
When is opening day? It's around the time, the last couple of days in March is when baseball season usually kicks off. I can't wait to take Aurora to Yankee Stadium this year. That's going to be such a fun thing for me. I'm going to find a nice Friday night. I'll take a summer Friday sometime in like maybe late May and June when the evenings are comfortably in the 60s, low 70s.
The 27th.
Like the 27th?
Yeah, and then she's going to love it. She's going to love it.
Can't wait for her to see the grass for the first time. It's not like it was back in the 90s. But it just wasn't. Yankee Stadium in the grass was like greener back then. I don't know what it was.
It was real? It was real grass? Maybe that's what it was.
What do you mean? You don't think it's real?
A lot of them don't use real grass. They use like a hybrid turf, like crazy.
This is grass, I think, even though it doesn't wear down like it used to. You're right. It doesn't wear down. I don't know what the hell is going on. And then also the drainage is a lot different. But also the lights, those old school halogen incandescent lights that used to line all the major league stadiums, they're all LED. I believe that it made the field glow in a different way. Like
Agreed.
Yeah.
The Mets are playing the Astros and the Yankees are playing the Brewers.
In Milwaukee?
It doesn't
in Milwaukee, probably.
Say. It doesn't say.
All right. Well,
that's it for this one. This is going to be an interesting one to see the feedback on.
Well, I hope everybody had themselves a good time.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Talk to you soon.
Nighty night.